Hi, and welcome to the Moto Asha podcast. We were just having a chat in the office the other day, and one of the things and the idea that came up uh, was about me as being a part of Moto Asha who's gone for the big long ride. I was out for a whole month, uh, covered roughly 6,000 kilometers, did three states, actually, no, four states all the way north and came back. So the idea was just what do you really need to do on your ride for your motorcycle as part of maintenance and service so that the bike runs and you're not stuck somewhere. Also, what do you really need to do when you come back to the bike? Because it was definitely a different service and maintenance that I had to carry on my motorcycle. So a few. I mean, we've done an episode on this where how do you prepare your motorcycle for a multi-day ride. So I'm not going to get into that. What I'll do is I'll run you through a few things that I would definitely check on my motorcycle on a daily basis, as well as something that I would check in 15 days. So I was out riding for 30, sorry, 40 days, and uh, there's definitely things that I kept checking on the ride that I would really advise people to keep doing as well. Now, at daily, a few things that I would check daily would be definitely tire pressure. Just making sure that in the evening, before you start your next day ride, you're not down with a puncture. So definitely check that. Check your pressures; they need to be right. People who've got a chain sprocket, make sure that those it's cleaned and you've lubed them. There's a trick that one of my friends, who is a service head, actually mentioned to me was, anyways, our chains are not. I mean, basically, the chain loop that you have is, majority of the mostly the purpose is to make sure that it doesn't go through corrosion. So if you have one layer and then it just keeps gunking up, and then you start putting it, it really doesn't make sense. The way to do it is just to clean it up and start putting one layer of chain lube. A lot of people don't carry both chain lube and chain clean, though. I've found WD-40, which is very easily accessible, and you get them in very small cans, 50 mls, 100 mls, that you can carry with you, and you get them on hardware stores. So I'd carry that and carry a chain lube. So definitely that chain clean, chain lube. If you've had a day of riding off road, there's a different thing that you would have to definitely check for. Definitely get those bolts. Even if you don't have a torque wrench, just give them a little bit of a snug and see everything is in order. Some of the bolts that really do get loose are panels after you do an off-road run. Fork brace, the triple clamp, those are the things that do get testing. The axles and the tires, the big bolts definitely don't. I don't think they're the ones that really got loose, but definitely panels, light fixings, the screen, all those small bolts that are there, they do tend to, they don't get loosened and fall off, but they get a little loose. So try to do those maintenance. Just get a bolt, get one of those wrenches that you can tighten the whole, all of your bike. So just give it a touch. Brake calipers also, just give them a touch with the socket and see if it comes in. So that goes on a daily basis. I would check that. Also, on a daily basis, I would check my fork seals. I check, if nothing is blown up. Uh, Definitely do that. Clean up your in other, in 5 days, or in a couple of days. What you do is just clean up the stanchion, the fork stanchions, if it looks really dirty. If you've gone off road and if you think you're in a dusty place, I would definitely get access to the air filter, clean that up. One of the things that causes the most amount of damage to engines and spark plugs fouling and all that is definitely a bad and dirty air filter. So clean those up. I mean, I'm the first thing that I do. Although check your warranties in this, because most OEM, brand new motorcycle OEM, even they don't cover warranties when it comes to you changing the air filter to a performance air filter, and something that you can keep carrying along with you and cleaning and re-oiling it. So check that. Even if you have a normal air filter, I would just suggest that just change it to a new one when you are getting on your ride, and then just keep dusting it out and seeing if you can just get somebody who can get some pressure in it and get some air, the dirty dirt out of it. Something that we had done was exactly the same thing, where me and my buddy, we were actually in Spiti, and we took it out. The filters had just done probably 2,000 kilometers, but they were really in a mess. And we had to remove them, take them to the local tire guy, and he would have the air pressure, and he would just be able to pressure the air. It does make a big difference. You actually feel the difference in the way the bike is running. So do that. I would definitely recommend doing that. Check all your bash plate bolts. Those are the ones that go loose first. Also side stand bolts. Those are the ones that also start getting loose. If you get a chance to wash your bike in between, do it. If it is really dirty, otherwise just let it be. Because I mean, I'm definitely of that opinion that if it's running, let it just keep running. Because I mean, there are times when people have gone in for a wash, come back, and some of the sensors have started acting up. So check those. Um, Most people, I've seen them actually complain about errors on TC coming up. So if you've gone into a slushy place and there's muck and there's mud everywhere that's going all over, check your ABS rings maybe another cup in 5 days, or just check those ABS rings that are there on the front and the rear, and make sure that they're clean, uh, because those are the things that start popping errors. There's something that you can do even on your ride. So when you're on a ride and you see that the TC is not the TC is blinking or something like that, some error that's showing up, just have a check on those rings. Those rings are the ones that get really dirty. Check your spokes, check your rims, if they're not bent and dented on the way. um, so Also, oil is one of those engine oil is one of those things that you definitely need to check after every I would check them after every thousand. I mean, it could be as bad as you're riding in some heavy traffic, and your bike is boiling and it's just hot. That these are the times when it starts to eat oil. So start looking at oil levels are very important. You don't want to be stuck somewhere waiting for oil, where you don't get oil. So I would just recommend checking your oil when you leave. If you come to a big place, big city, check your oil once again in 10 days or something like that. Just make sure that your your fluids are all topped up. Same goes with your coolant as well. So these are the things that I would check on a daily basis if you're on a ride. Now, the topic that I wanted to tackle today was, what do you do when you come back, and what are the things that you need to really check on, change, replace, clean, grease when you're back. So I got back, and I made a list of things that I did on the bike. Actually, I came back and I started opening up my bike, and I did a few maintenance tasks that really uh, taught me that these are important and critical things that you need to do when you come back. Don't just leave it to your service guy. So if you're leaving it to your service guy, stand there and just keep getting these done. So I came back, and the first thing I did was I checked my tires. I made sure that they have enough tread, they're not cracked anywhere. I check my rims to check if there's no dents, and anything that if for my next ride can cause me not to be able to ride. I cleaned my brake calipers. They were completely junked up with mud, especially the north, the Ladakh and the Leh and the Spiti. Those kind of that. You're doing off road, you don't realize it, and it's just gunking in. So clean up all those brake pistons, brake calipers, get those pin guides out, clean them up. Your brake pads definitely need one of those. You need those like a scotch, metal scotch bright thing, and just start to clean those up, because that mud is on the pad, and then it just keeps rubbing onto the disc, and that disc starts getting scotched. So clean those up. Definitely get a brake cleaner and clean the disc also up. Uh, I would then, I while I'm doing that from the front, I would check the brake fluid. I'd replace it if it really is looking bad and dirty. I'd check all the bearings, the steering bearing as well as the wheel bearings, to check that they're not, they're not dirty. So basically, just remove the tire, start going from the front up all the way. So brake bearings, steering bearings. I would come to the handlebar, check all my levers, check all the switches, make sure that you get contact cleaner, clean those up, put a layer of WD-40, spray something, spray WD-40 into those switches, so you're not, there's nothing, there's no water or any residue that's there. Uh, so before you get there, definitely get that bike washed. You would be surprised how much time it actually took me to get that bike washed clean. Check your spokes and rims. I know now, spokeless rim tires, you've got a special torque tool that actually checks on those rims, those spokes being in check. So do that, check those, check some nothing is loose and broken. Uh, I would tighten all the bolts, especially panels and screen bolts, as well as the mounting bolts, frame bolts, engine guard bolts, the everything. Just get get a good toolkit and just start to uh, you know tighten those and seeing if nothing is loose. If you've got a diagnostic tool, definitely connect it. You might have some errors, run those through. I'd come back and also do the air filter, clean the air filter up, re-oil it if it is a reusable filter. Otherwise, just change it. Chain clean, chain lube. I think that's your time when you can deep clean it and lube it. Engine oil, probably the first thing that I would change is that. I mean, I in those 6,000 kilometers, the way the oil came out, it didn't look like oil anymore. It was black oil. So get that coolant top up. One of those things that you'll definitely have to check. In my case, I mean, I had a shaft driven bike, so my gear oil had just done 6,000 kilometers, although it does a lot more, had to be changed. I checked all the guards, make sure that they're all in place. If you've had a tipple, which I had as well, I made sure that everything is in order. It is not moved. All the mounting bolts are in order. So basically, one of the things that I had to do was I had to remove it. The engine guards were okay, but because it had shifted a little bit, those mounting bolts that are going inside the chassis or into the engine will not easily fit in. So you've got to really, really move, loosen up all the bolts of the engine guard, make sure that they go inside properly, and with your hand, don't try to over tighten it with a wrench so you lose the thread. So do that. I will. I mean, there was 3 times when I had to check my bash plate, which got loose. I did that. Came back this time around, put those Loctites in, made sure that the bash plate is not bashed up, which was supposed to. So I had to get it straightened. Once you straighten it up, you will figure out that the mounting points on the bash plates also move. So get those all in order. Make sure that they fit in snug and properly. Side stand, all the stands, center and side stand, I'd clean them up, I'd grease it. Definitely put grease, that penetration oil that you get. I think Maxima makes an MPPL, so just put that in, let that be there. All these things just help in the long run, to avoid corrosion or if anything can go wrong. I'll check all the mudguard bolts, ABS sensor rings, they're clean and away from, just make sure that those are all in place. Make sure that the ABS sensor is also tightened up properly. uh, the suspensions are very 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 important part of it, because those are the things that you can't see sometimes, especially the there ones. So just make sure that they're not busted, none of the seals have gone. Make sure that the triple clamp bolts that they're attached to are in order. Now that you've come back home, get a torque wrench, start torquing all the things back. You'd be surprised how many bolts go off torque after such a long ride. Check all your levers if you've had a fall, especially the left and right, brake levers, foot, clutch, and all that. In the end, definitely get your bike polished and cleaned, and wherever you see dirt that could fit in, so basically under the tank, if there's any dirt that's gone through, make sure you lift that tank up, clean up everything. You don't want all that residual mud and dust to stay on your bike. It has to go. So yeah, I mean, these are the things that I came back and I did. It took me a couple of days, but when you do it yourself, you know what your bike has gone through. And once you start opening it up, that's when you realize that, hey, you know what, something, this could have been changed. One of the things I always believe in, and I think it's good practice, is to learn your own bike, because you would definitely know what has gone wrong. So yeah, get dirty, get a good toolkit, get a good manual. These are the things we always recommend, and we always recommend our listeners as well as our customers. Thanks for listening to this podcast. I want to hear your stories, your motorcycle experiences, what you've been doing, and how motorcycles have made your life better. So if you have something to say, DM us on Instagram, and I'll be more than happy to get you on this podcast.